Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're
Oh,
going to be exploring some audio excerpts from a self-help book, and it kind of blends
let's say it.
Zen philosophy with Western mythology.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix. But the goal is to kind of help you gain some insights into finding your life's work.
What's interesting to me is how the author uses these like really different traditions to explore these concepts, like
Mhm.
heroism and questioning, and even like creative discontent.
Yeah, I admit I was a little skeptical at first,
Yeah.
but I'm already kind of intrigued by this idea of the hero as a quester.
Mm-hmm.
The source really emphasizes the importance of questioning
Yeah.
as like this defining characteristic of the hero's journey.
It's about like embracing the not knowing and seeing it as like the starting point for discovery.
Right.
The source highlights how most people are embarrassed by not having the answers.
Yeah.
But true heroes kind of lean into that space of seeking, that uncomfortable space of seeking.
Yeah. It reminds me of that Norse myth about Ask,
Oh, yeah.
the first human whose defining characteristic was asking questions.
Right.
It makes you think, what are the questions that are keeping you up at night? What are you seeking?
Those questions are the seeds of your own like heroic journey.
I like that.
Every great discovery, every innovation, every work of art started with someone daring to ask like why and what if.
Yeah.
They refuse to settle for easy answers.
So I'm starting to see how this ties into like finding one's life's work.
Mhm.
It's not just about stumbling on the right job.
Right.
It's about this active seeking and questioning and challenging like the status quo.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The source even quotes Einstein,
Oh,
who talked about that feeling of searching in the dark for a truth that you can kind of sense but haven't grasped yet. It's that like unwavering commitment
Right.
to the quest that defines the hero's path.
so it's not simply about lagging an answer. It's about like actively pursuing it.
Yeah.
And this kind of brings us to another really interesting concept from the source,
Right.
saying yes to life.
The source draws this really powerful distinction between like the hero's enthusiastic yes
Mm-hmm.
and the anti-hero's avoidance of like life's challenges.
Okay.
There's this really provocative quote: "The fundamental choice is suicide or life."
Wow.
Of course, not literally.
Right. Yeah, it's more about choosing to fully engage
Yeah.
with life's experiences, both good and bad,
Yeah.
and understanding that growth and transformation
Yeah.
often happens outside of our comfort zones.
That's the essence of the heroic journey, choosing to step into the arena,
Yeah.
face challenges head on and learn and grow from every experience.
Okay, so we're embracing our inner hero,
Yeah.
saying yes to life,
Yeah.
asking these tough questions.
Yeah.
But how do we translate this into finding our life's work? The source introduces these four wisdoms or archetypes that can help us kind of manifest inspiration.
They offer this practical framework for understanding the different energies we need on this journey.
Right.
We have the hero,
Yeah.
the visionary who sets the direction.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the magician
Right.
who uses imagination and creativity to bring those visions to life.
It's fascinating how these archetypes provide a different lens for viewing this whole process.
Yeah.
It's not just about finding a job.
Yeah.
It's about harnessing these
Yeah.
internal forces
Yeah,
to create something meaningful.
exactly. And of course we can't forget the warrior
Right.
who helps us overcome obstacles and persevere
Yeah.
through challenges.
Yeah.
This archetype embodies that grit and resilience needed to bring any vision into reality.
And finally, there's the scholar, the eternal student,
Yeah.
always seeking knowledge and refining their understanding.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder which archetype resonates most strongly with you right now.
It's a really valuable question to consider. Remember, these archetypes aren't fixed. They can shift and change as you evolve on your path.
Yeah.
The key is to be aware of them,
Right.
and consciously tap into the energy that you need at any given moment.
So we're cultivating our heroic spirit.
Yeah.
Harnessing these archetypal energies.
Yeah.
But how do we break free from conventional thinking and really unlock those aha moments about our life's work,
Mm-hmm.
the Source introduces this Zen concept
Oh, yeah?
called the Goen.
And it's not like some mystical meditation technique or anything.
Right.
The Goen is like an impossible question or riddle that's designed to kind of disrupt your usual way of thinking.
Like the classic, what is the sound of one hand clapping? I remember encountering that in the source material. And it definitely made my brain do a backflip.
Right.
It forces you to think outside the box.
Yeah.
To grapple with a concept that has no easy answer.
And it's through that struggle,
Yeah.
that mental wrestling match,
Yeah.
that breakthroughs often occur.
That's a really, really interesting point.
Yeah.
It's not about finding the right answer, but it's about the process of grappling with the question itself.
Hmm.
How does this relate to the search for our life's work?
The Source challenges us to identify our own goins.
Okay.
What are those nagging questions that keep us up at night, the ones that seem impossible to answer, but hold this like strange fascination for us?
So instead of shying away from these seemingly unanswerable questions, we should lean into them,
Yeah.
because they might be the key to unlocking a deeper understanding of our purpose.
Exactly. Often those are the very questions that lead to the most profound insights about our calling.
Yeah.
They force us to challenge our assumptions and explore uncharted territories.
Okay. So we're asking the tough questions,
Yeah.
wrestling with our personal goings,
Mm-hmm.
but the Source also stresses the importance of vision,
Right.
and not just any vision. It outlines 3 distinct types,
Yeah.
essential for finding purpose.
The first is perception.
Okay.
The ability to see the world as it is with all its complexities and problems and opportunities.
It's like suddenly noticing details you've overlooked before, seeing the world with like fresh eyes.
Yeah.
But how does one cultivate that kind of perception?
It's an ongoing practice.
Mhm.
You know, it might involve stepping outside your comfort zone, exposing yourself to new ideas
Right.
and perspectives,
Yeah.
or simply taking the time to observe your surroundings with more intention.
So it's not a passive process. It requires active engagement with the world around us.
Yes.
What about the other types of vision?
The second is imagination.
Okay.
This is where you envision what could be,
Mm,
think beyond the limitations of the present,
right.
and dream up new possibilities.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into your creativity and imagining like your ideal world, your ideal work,
Mhm.
your ideal impact.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But for someone who struggles with self-doubt,
Right.
how do they even begin to imagine those possibilities?
It starts with giving yourself permission to dream.
Oh.
You know, don't censor yourself or let fear hold you back.
Yeah.
Allow your mind to wander,
Yeah.
explore different scenarios,
Oh, right.
and play with ideas without judgment.
It's about silencing that inner critic
Uh-huh.
and embracing the power of possibility.
Yes.
Okay. So we have perception and imagination.
Yeah.
What's the third type of vision?
The third type is love.
Love.
It might seem strange to connect love with vision, but the Source explains that it's about seeing the world and your work with compassion,
Okay.
finding beauty even in the midst of suffering.
Can you give an example of what that might look like?
The Source shares a really powerful anecdote about the Buddha.
Oh,
It was his first encounter with suffering that sparked his awakening
wow.
and set him on the path to enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that sometimes it's through facing the difficult, the painful,
Right.
that we gain the clearest vision of what truly matters.
So we're not just looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. We're acknowledging the darkness while also seeking out the light.
Yeah.
It's about seeing the full spectrum of human experience
Mm.
with compassion and understanding.
That's the power of love as a lens
Yeah.
for vision. It allows us to connect with our own humanity and to see the world with empathy and understanding.
All right, we're cultivating these 3 types of vision, but now the Source dives into a conflict that I find really relevant to today's world.
Okay.
The clash between the commodity worldview and the sacred view.
The source points out how dominant the commodity worldview is in modern society.
Yeah.
It's the belief that everything is ultimately about economic profit. You know, valuing things based on their monetary worth.
Right.
There's this really striking quote: from a commodity worldview, economic profit is what is real and valuable. All other values are secondary, even superfluous.
That quote kind of makes me a bit uncomfortable, to be honest. It feels very reductive, as if it diminishes the value of things that can't be measured in dollars and cents, like human connection or creativity or compassion.
That's precisely the danger
Yeah.
of letting the commodity worldview dominate our thinking. It can lead to a sense of emptiness and disconnect
Right.
from what truly matters.
Right.
The source argues that we need to challenge this worldview and rediscover the sacred view.
What does the sacred view entail?
It recognizes the inherent value in everything, regardless of its economic worth.
Right.
It's about seeing the interconnectedness of life, respecting the natural world, and valuing things beyond just their monetary value.
Well, it's about shifting our perspective from a purely transactional view of the world to one that acknowledges the intrinsic worth of all beings and all things.
Right.
It makes you wonder, how do we even begin to dismantle something as deeply ingrained as the commodity worldview?
It starts with awareness.
Okay.
You know, recognizing how this worldview influences our decisions, our values, and our sense of self-worth. And then we can consciously choose
Right.
to embrace a more holistic and compassionate perspective.
It sounds like a challenging,
It is.
but essential undertaking, especially if we want to create a world where people feel valued
Yeah.
and fulfilled beyond their economic output.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about reclaiming our humanity and recognizing that true wealth lies in our relationships, in our communities, and our connection to something larger than ourselves.
Right. Okay, so we're challenging the commodity worldview, but now the source throws us this curveball with this idea of creative discontent as a driving force for finding your calling. At first glance, it seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Isn't discontent a negative emotion?
It can be, but the source reframes it as a powerful motivator. It's not about wallowing in misery or complaining. It's about recognizing that feeling deeply unhappy with something can signal that you're meant for something more, something better.
So it's about channeling that frustration into positive action, into seeking solutions, into creating the change you want to see in the world.
Right.
But how do we distinguish between like unproductive complaining and this creative discontent?
The key is to identify the source of your discontent.
Okay.
Is it rooted in a genuine desire to make things better, to contribute something meaningful, to create positive change?
If that's the case, then that discomfort can be the catalyst for action,
right?
The fuel that propels you forward on your journey. I'm starting to see how this concept ties back to the hero's journey. You know, it's that refusal to accept the status quo, that burning desire to make a difference.
Exactly. The source even points out that many innovators and change makers throughout history have been driven by this sense of creative discontent.
Right.
They saw the problems in the world and refused to simply accept them. They had a vision for something better and were willing to fight for it.
It's inspiring to think that our dissatisfaction, if channeled correctly, can be a force for good, a catalyst for personal growth and positive change in the world.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the discomfort, asking ourselves what needs to change, and then taking action to create that change. It's a courageous act, and it's at the heart of the heroic journey.
So as we're listening, it's worth reflecting on our own discontent.
Yeah.
What are the things that frustrate us, that bother us, that make us think there has to be a better way?
Right.
Those feelings might be guiding us toward our true calling.
It's an invitation to examine those feelings with curiosity and to see if they might be pointing us toward a path
Right.
of greater purpose and fulfillment.
Okay, we're tapping into our creative discontent.
Yeah.
But now the source kind of shifts gears and focuses on something a bit more concrete.
Okay.
Our natural talents as breadcrumbs leading us to our life's work.
The source states that your talents provide a window that opens into the discovery of your life's work.
I love that.
It's about paying attention to those things that come naturally to you, the things you enjoy doing, the things you excel at,
Sweet.
even if they seem effortless.
I love that analogy of talents as breadcrumbs leading us to our destiny.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard to recognize those talents, especially if they come so naturally that we take them for granted.
That's a common challenge. The source encourages us to examine those abilities we might dismiss as easy or not a big deal. Often those are the very talents that hold the key to our unique contribution to the world.
So instead of focusing on what we're bad at, we should be paying attention to those things that bring us joy.
Yeah.
That we lose ourselves in, that make us feel energized and alive.
Right.
Those are the breadcrumbs we should be following.
It's about shifting our focus from our perceived weaknesses to our innate strengths.
Yeah.
The things that make us unique are often the very things that can lead us to our most fulfilling work.
It's a powerful reminder to trust our instincts.
Yeah.
And to celebrate those things that make us come alive.
And to remember that our talents aren't limited to artistic or creative pursuits.
Right.
They can manifest in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
Problem solving, organizing, connecting with people, caring for others, teaching, leading.
It's about broadening our definition of what constitutes a talent.
Yeah,
Okay.
and recognizing that all our abilities, big and small, have the potential to contribute something valuable to the world.
Exactly. And the source emphasizes that it's not just about identifying our talents,
Right.
but also about understanding how they can be used to make a meaningful contribution.
Right.
It's about finding the intersection between our passions, our skills, and the needs of the world.
It's starting to feel like all these concepts are interwoven, creating a tapestry that guides us toward our life's work. We're questioning, we're saying yes to life.
We're embracing our talents and we're channeling our creative discontent.
And it's all part of a larger journey, a hero's journey, if you will.
Yeah, I like that.
And the source reminds us that this journey isn't always easy.
Right.
There will be challenges, there will be setbacks.
Yeah.
And there will be moments of doubt. But it's through those experiences that we grow.
Right.
That we learn.
Yeah.
And that we discover our true strength.
So as we continue to explore these concepts, let's remember to be kind to ourselves, to embrace the journey with all its imperfections, and to trust that we're being guided toward a destination that is both meaningful and fulfilling.
And that sometimes the most unexpected detours can lead to the most extraordinary discoveries.
Well said.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, the source introduces this final concept that I find both intriguing and a bit daunting.
Okay.
The idea of career as a game.
It acknowledges that the world of work operates within a system with its own set of rules and expectations and rewards.
Yeah.
We often get caught up in striving for titles, recognition, and climbing that proverbial career ladder.
It's like we're all players in this game, competing for limited resources and external validation. But sometimes it feels like we're so focused on winning that we lose sight of what truly matters.
That's the danger of taking the game too seriously. The source cautions against getting so caught up in the external markers of success that we neglect our own inner compass and the things that bring us genuine fulfillment.
It's a reminder that we have the power to choose how we play the game.
Right.
And we can even choose to redefine the rules altogether.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The key is to find a balance between pursuing our goals and maintaining a sense of perspective.
Right.
It's about defining success on our own terms and not letting the external pressures dictate our choices or our sense of self-worth.
It's a powerful message, especially in a world that often feels driven by competition and comparison.
Absolutely.
So as we continue our exploration of this self-help book, let's keep this idea of career as a game in mind. Let's question the rules. Challenge the assumptions, and remember that we have the power to create our own definition of success.
And to find joy and fulfillment in the process.
Right.
Regardless of the outcome.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
From embracing the hero's journey to wrestling with our goings to challenging the commodity worldview.
We've explored the power of questioning. The importance of saying yes to life and the significance of recognizing and honoring our unique talents.
It's been a fascinating exploration so far, and I'm curious to see where this journey takes us next.
Me too.
Oh.
Yeah. And as we kind of delve deeper into this idea of career as a game, the source reminds us that it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of external validation. Chasing those titles, promotions, accolades.
Like we're all on this treadmill, striving to reach the next level. But sometimes we forget to ask ourselves if we're even enjoying the ride.
Exactly. And the source encourages us to step off the treadmill from time to time. Right.
And ask ourselves some important questions.
Okay.
Are we playing the game for the right reasons? Are we aligned with our values? Are we using our talents in a way that feels meaningful?
Those are some pretty powerful questions.
Yeah.
It's easy to get swept up in the momentum of our careers and lose sight of what truly matters.
And that's why it's so important to cultivate self-awareness and to regularly check in with ourselves to make sure we're still on the right track.
Right.
The source even suggests treating our careers like a scientific experiment.
Scientific experiment. That's an interesting analogy.
Yeah.
What you mean by that?
It's about approaching our work with a sense of curiosity, experimentation, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
It's about testing different hypotheses, gathering data, and making adjustments along the way.
So it's not about having this rigid plan or following a predetermined path. It's more about embracing the unknown. And being open to new possibilities.
Precisely. And it's about recognizing that failure is an inevitable part of the process.
Right.
Just like in science, every setback, every unexpected result can be an opportunity to learn, to refine our approach and to get closer to our desired outcome.
I like that perspective. It takes the pressure off having to have all the answers.
Right.
And allows us to embrace the journey with more curiosity and a willingness to experiment.
Exactly. And it encourages us to view our careers as a dynamic and an evolving process rather than a static destination.
Now, the source also dives into this concept of the heroic yes to life. Which we touched on briefly earlier.
Right.
Can you elaborate on what that means in the context of finding our life's work?
It's about approaching our careers with a sense of enthusiasm, courage, and a willingness to embrace both the the challenges and the rewards.
Right.
It's about saying yes to opportunities that stretch us, that push us outside of our comfort zones, and that allow us to grow and evolve.
So it's not about settling for a safe and predictable path. It's about embracing the unknown and being open to new experiences, even if they feel a bit daunting at first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about recognizing that the greatest growth often happens when we're willing to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the challenges that come our way.
I'm starting to see a recurring theme here. It's about embracing the unknown.
Yeah.
Trusting the process and being willing to experiment and learn along the way.
You're picking up on a key element of the source's message. It's not about having all the answers or following a predetermined plan.
Right.
It's about cultivating this mindset of curiosity, courage, and a willingness to embrace the journey with all its twists and turns.
Okay, so we're saying yes to life.
Yeah.
We're approaching our careers like a scientific experiment, and we're embracing the hero's journey.
Right.
But how do we navigate the practical realities of the work world? The source dives into a pretty stark contrast between what it calls the commodity worldview and the sacred view.
Right.
Which I think is incredibly relevant to how we approach our careers.
You're right, that contrast is crucial.
Yeah.
The source points out how deeply ingrained the commodity worldview is in our society. The idea that everything is ultimately about economic profit.
Right.
About valuing things based on their monetary worth.
It's that relentless pursuit of more, bigger, better that can sometimes feel soul crushing, like we're all cogs in a machine churning away, but losing sight of the bigger picture.
And this source reminds us that this worldview can be incredibly limiting, especially when it comes to finding fulfilling work.
Right.
When we measure our worth solely based on our economic output, we miss out on the intrinsic value of our work and the joy of contributing our unique talents to the world.
So how do we shift from this commodity worldview to a more sacred view of work?
It starts with recognizing the inherent worth of all work, regardless of its economic value. It's about acknowledging the dignity of labor and appreciating the contributions of everyone who plays a role in creating the goods and services that sustain our lives.
So it's about shifting our perspective from a purely transactional view of work to one that recognizes the value of human effort, creativity and collaboration.
Precisely. And it's about connecting with the deeper meaning and purpose behind our work. Why are we doing what we're doing? What impact do we want to have on the world?
Yeah.
How can we use our talents to make a positive difference?
It's about aligning our work with our values, our passions, and our sense of purpose. It's about finding work that feels meaningful and fulfilling, even if it doesn't necessarily come with a big paycheck or a fancy title.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the relationships we build, the contributions we make, and the impact we have on the world around us.
Okay, so we're challenging the commodity worldview, and embracing a more sacred view of work. But how do we translate these big ideas into practical action? The source suggests that we start by identifying and honoring our unique unique talents.
It's about paying attention to those things that come naturally to us, the things we enjoy doing, the things we excel at,
Yeah.
even if we don't necessarily consider them special or valuable.
I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
We often downplay our talents.
Right.
Especially if they come easily to us.
Yeah.
But the source encourages us to view those abilities as gifts, as clues to our unique potential and purpose.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that our talents aren't limited to those things we're formally trained in or paid to do.
Right.
They can encompass this wide range of skills, abilities, and interests, from cooking and gardening to writing and public speaking to problem solving and organizing.
So it's about broadening our definition of what constitutes a talent and acknowledging that all our abilities, big and small, have the potential to contribute something valuable to the world.
And it's about finding ways to integrate those talents into our work, whether it's through our current job, a side hustle, or a volunteer activity.
It's about finding those opportunities where our passions, our skills, and the needs of the world intersect.
You're catching on to a key principle here.
Yeah.
It's not just about identifying our talents in isolation, but about finding ways to apply them in a way that feels both meaningful and fulfilling.
Now, the source also digs into this idea of creative discontent.
Yeah.
Which we talked about earlier. Can you remind us how that concept plays a role in finding our life's work?
It's about recognizing that dissatisfaction can be a powerful motivator for change, especially when it comes to our careers.
Right.
You know, when we're feeling unfulfilled, restless, or creatively stifled, it might be a sign that we're meant for something more, something better.
So it's not about wallowing in misery or complaining about our circumstances, but about channeling that frustration into positive action. But how do we distinguish between unproductive negativity and this creative discontent?
The key is to identify the source of our discontent. Right. Is it rooted in a genuine desire to make a difference, to contribute something meaningful, to create positive change, or is it simply a case of wanting things to be easier or more comfortable?
If it's the former, then that discomfort could be the catalyst for growth, the fuel that propels us forward on our journey to finding and pursuing our true calling.
Exactly. And the source reminds us that many of the greatest innovators and change makers throughout history have been driven by this sense of creative discontent.
Wow.
They saw the problems in the world and refused to simply accept them. They had a vision for something better, and were willing to take risks, challenge the status quo, and work tirelessly
to bring about that change.
So as we're listening, it's worth reflecting on our own discontent. What are the things that frustrate us, that bother us, that make us think there has to be a better way? Those feelings might be guiding us toward our true calling.
And it's about having the courage to act on those feelings, to explore new possibilities, and to create a life that feels more aligned with our values and our vision for the world.
Now, the source also explores this concept of career as a game, which can be a bit of a mind bender. Can you explain what that means and how it relates to finding fulfilling work?
It's about recognizing that the world of work operates within a system with its own set of rules, expectations, and rewards.
We often get caught up in playing the the game,
Right.
striving for titles, promotions, external validation, but sometimes we forget to ask ourselves if we're even enjoying the game, or if it's aligned with our values and our sense of purpose.
So it's about stepping back
Yeah.
and examining our motivations
Right.
for playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Are we chasing external markers of success,
Mm-hmm.
or are we pursuing a path that feels authentic and meaningful to us?
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we play the game.
Right.
You know, we can choose to play by the rules, or we can choose to create our own rules. We can choose to focus on winning at all costs,
Right.
or we can choose to prioritize collaboration, creativity, and making a positive impact.
It's a powerful reminder that we have more agency than we often realize when it comes to our careers.
Right.
We don't have to be passive players in someone else's game.
Right.
We can create our own game.
Yeah.
One that aligns with our values, our passions, and our vision for the world.
And that's where the concept of the heroic yes comes into play. Play again, you know? It's about having the courage to say yes to opportunities that feel aligned with our true calling, even if they require us to step outside of our comfort zones, challenge the status quo, or redefine what success looks like.
Now, the source also delves into the importance of cultivating a beginner's mind.
Yeah.
Which seems a bit paradoxical,
right?
In the context of finding our life's work. Shouldn't we be striving to become experts in our field?
You're right. It might seem counterintuitive at first, but the source argues that maintaining a beginner's mind, a sense of openness, curiosity, and a willingness to learn, is essential for staying creative, adaptable, and engaged in our work.
So it's about approaching our work with a fresh perspective,
right?
Even if we've been doing it for years, it's about resisting the temptation to become complacent, or to assume that we have all the answers.
Exactly. And it's about being open to new ideas, new approaches, new ways of thinking. It's about embracing the unknown and recognizing that there's always more to learn, no matter how experienced we become.
So as we continue on our journey to find and pursue our life's work, let's remember to cultivate that beginner's mind. Let's approach our work with curiosity, enthusiasm, and a willingness to learn and grow.
Right.
Even when it feels challenging or uncomfortable.
Because it's in those moments of discomfort when we're stretching ourselves beyond our perceived limits. That the greatest growth and transformation often occur.
Now, the source also emphasizes the importance of making visible the glorious inner life in the everyday world of form.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty abstract.
It is a bit.
Can you unpack that a bit?
It's about bridging the gap between our inner world of dreams and visions and aspirations, and the outer world of concrete actions and tangible results. You know, it's about finding ways to express our unique gifts and talents in a way that benefits both ourselves and the world around us.
So it's not just about having a great idea or a noble intention. It's about taking action. Putting in the work and making those dreams a reality.
Exactly. And it's about finding creative ways to express our inner truth in the outer world. Whether it's through our work, our art, our relationships, or our community involvement. It's about finding those outlets that allow us to share our gifts
Right.
and make a positive impact.
It's about bringing our inner light
Yeah.
into the world and letting it shine. Now the source also gets pretty specific about setting mission objectives as a way to kind of make progress toward our life's work.
It's about translating our big dreams and aspirations into concrete, achievable goals.
Right.
It's about creating a roadmap for our journey and breaking down those large, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
So instead of just having a vague idea of what we want to do, we actually take the time to define our goals, set deadlines, and create a plan of action.
Precisely. And the source recommends setting both short-term and long-term mission objectives. The short-term objectives give us this sense of immediate progress and keep us motivated.
Right.
While the long-term objectives help us to stay focused on the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And remind us of our ultimate goals.
Yeah, I know that setting goals can feel overwhelming for some people, especially if they're not quite sure what their life's work is yet.
Yeah.
What advice does the source offer for those who are feeling stuck or uncertain about their direction?
It encourages us to start by simply brainstorming.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. Don't censor ourselves. Just let the ideas flow freely. Write down anything and everything that comes to mind. Yeah. No matter how big or small, how realistic or outlandish.
It's about giving ourselves permission to dream big, to explore all the possibilities without judgment or limitation.
Exactly. And once we have a good list of potential mission objectives, we can start to prioritize them based on what truly excites us, what aligns with our values and what feels most meaningful to us.
So as we're listening, it's worth taking some time to brainstorm our own mission objectives. What are the things that we want to accomplish? What impact do we want to make? What legacy do we want to leave behind?
Remember, this is our opportunity to create a roadmap for a life of purpose and fulfillment. Right. So dream big and don't be afraid to set our sights high.
Now the source also acknowledges that we're bound to encounter obstacles and challenges along the way. What advice does it offer for navigating those inevitable setbacks?
One of the key suggestions is to develop what it calls emotional intelligence.
That sounds like a valuable skill.
Yeah.
But what exactly does emotional intelligence entail?
It's about being aware of our own emotions. Okay. Understanding how they impact our thoughts and behaviors, and learning to manage them effectively. Right. It's about recognizing when we're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, or anxious, and developing healthy coping mechanisms to deal with those emotions.
So it's not about suppressing our emotions or pretending that everything is okay all the time.
Yeah, it's about being honest with ourselves about how we're feeling, accepting those emotions, and finding healthy ways to process them. It's about recognizing that our emotions can be valuable sources of information. Right. They can alert us to situations that are out of alignment with our values. They can motivate us to take action, and they can help us to connect with our deepest needs and desires.
So instead of viewing our emotions as something to be feared or avoided, we can learn to embrace them as valuable guides
exactly
on our journey.
You're right. Yeah. It's about viewing our emotions as as allies, not enemies.
I like that.
It's about learning to listen to them, to understand what they're trying to tell us, and to use that information to make more informed decisions and to create a more fulfilling life.
Okay, so we're developing emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
But the source also emphasizes the importance of cultivating what it calls warrior energy.
Right.
It sounds a bit intense, but I'm intrigued.
It's about developing the courage, the determination, and the resilience to overcome obstacles and achieve our goals. It's about tapping into that inner strength and unwavering commitment that helps us stay focused, push through challenges,
Right.
and never give up on our dreams.
So it's not about being aggressive or domineering.
Right.
It's about having that inner fortitude to persevere even when things get tough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about embracing those challenges as opportunities for growth and using them to build our resilience and determination.
And the source reminds us that we all have this warrior energy within us, even if it's sometimes dormant or hidden beneath layers of fear and self-doubt.
Right.
So how do we tap into that inner warrior and cultivate that strength and resilience?
The source suggests a variety of practices,
Right.
such as setting clear roles and intentions, developing a strong work ethic, practicing discipline and perseverance, facing our fears, and stepping outside of our comfort zones,
Right.
and seeking support from mentors and role models.
It sounds like cultivating warrior energy is about building our inner strength.
Yeah.
And developing the tools and resources we need
Right.
to face the inevitable challenges that come with pursuing a meaningful life.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about recognizing that the journey to fulfilling work isn't always easy, but it's worth the effort.
Right.
And it's about trusting that we have the inner resources to navigate the challenges and emerge stronger and more resilient on the other side.
Now, the source also encourages us to develop scholar energy.
Right.
What does that entail, and why is it important in the context of finding our life's work?
Scholar energy is about having a love of learning, a thirst for knowledge,
Right.
and a commitment to continuous growth and development.
Right.
It's about approaching life with a curious mind,
Mm-hmm.
always seeking to understand new concepts, expand our knowledge base, and refine our skills.
So it's about embracing lifelong learning.
Yeah.
Always seeking out new information and experiences that can help us grow and evolve.
Exactly. And the scholar energy is essential for navigating the ever-changing landscape of the work world.
Yeah.
You know, the more we learn, the more adaptable we become.
Right.
And the better equipped we are to handle new challenges, seize new opportunities,
Right.
and create a truly fulfilling and meaningful career.
It makes sense that in today's rapidly evolving world, adaptability and a commitment to lifelong learning are essential for success and fulfillment.
Absolutely. And the source offers some practical suggestions for cultivating this scholar energy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the key recommendations is to simply make time for learning.
Right.
It doesn't have to be anything formal or structured. It could be reading books, listening to podcasts, taking online courses, attending workshops, or even just having conversations with people who are knowledgeable in areas that interest us.
The key is to be intentional about our learning and to find ways to integrate it into our daily lives.
And another helpful tip from the source is to not be afraid to ask questions, whether we're in a classroom at a conference or just having a conversation with a friend.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be shy about admitting when we don't know something.
Asking questions is a sign of intellectual curiosity and a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
Not a sign of weakness
or
ignorance.
Exactly. And it's one of the best ways to learn and to deepen our understanding.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
Exploring a wide range of concepts from the hero's journey to the commodity worldview
Yeah.
to the importance of cultivating emotional intelligence, warrior energy, and scholar energy.
Right.
It's been a fascinating and thought-provoking exploration.
It certainly has. And
Go
I
ahead.
think that the key takeaway
Hmm.
is that finding and pursuing our life's work is a journey,
Wow.
not a destination. It's a process of self-discovery,
Right.
exploration, and growth.
Hmm.
And it's a journey that requires us to embrace uncertainty, to challenge our fears, to cultivate our strengths, and to stay true to our values.
It's about creating a life that feels both meaningful and fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
A life that allows us to express our
Yeah.
our unique gifts and talents,
Right.
and to make a positive contribution to the world.
And it's a journey that's worth taking, even if it's not always easy
Right.
or straightforward.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope you've found these insights helpful and inspiring.
Yeah.
And remember, the journey to fulfilling work starts with a single step. What will your first step be?